My neighbor sued me because he thought I was a witch. I had to sit in court and watch his lawyer hold up a foam board covered in blurry photos of me and my pet snake with the words, "Evidence of dark magic," written across the top in red marker. Your Honor, the defendant has been conducting nighttime rituals and communicating with dark forces through her serpent familiar. My neighbor got on the stand actually shaking. I heard her threaten to take my life, and that demon snake is going to help her do it. His lawyer pulled out a folder of printed Instagram screenshots showing my pet ball python Butterscotch wearing a tiny pumpkin hat, a Santa hat with a pom-pom, and an Easter bunny hat with floppy ears. He told the judge these hats were magical accessories that enhance the demon's powers, and I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. Then his lawyer presented what he called a pattern of supernatural activity, which was literally just a list of times I took my snake outside that he wrote down in a notebook. The whole mess started because I have facial piercings and wear all black. Apparently that makes me evil. I moved into my apartment 6 months ago and started taking Butterscotch outside to explore at night twice a week because ball pythons are nocturnal and I work nights. I also crochet to deal with work stress, and I thought snakes and tiny hats were hilarious, so I always made her hats for the holidays. The first time my neighbor saw me in the courtyard holding Butterscotch while she wore a little witch hat for Halloween, he screamed and ran inside his apartment. The next morning there was a note on my door that said, "I know what you are," with a cross drawn on it. Then he started leaving religious pamphlets outside my door every single day. He'd make the sign of the cross in the hallway whenever he saw me, and his wife would literally run away if we were both checking mail. One time I was just taking out my trash and he pressed himself against the wall like I was going to curse him in the hallway. They even called animal control saying I had a dangerous wild animal. The officer showed up, looked at Butterscotch sleeping in her hide, and let them know that ball pythons are perfectly legal to keep as pets. The officer actually laughed and said, "Sir, ball pythons are the puppy dogs of snakes. She's not dangerous." When that didn't work, my neighbor apparently started recording me through his window. He submitted an audio recording to the lawyer where you can hear me putting Butterscotch back in her terrarium going, "Okay, sweet girl, back in your tank. I'll see you tomorrow after work." And he somehow decided that was me conducting a ritual and promising to complete a sacrifice the next day. When I finally got to defend myself, I brought Butterscotch to the front in her travel carrier. I brought her because I figured seeing an actual ball python might help the judge understand how ridiculous my neighbor was being. We showed the judge my Etsy shop where I sell crocheted pet accessories and explained that making tiny hats for my snake was just my hobby. The local pet store owner testified that ball pythons are recommended for beginners because they're super gentle and thousands of people own them as pets. Then my lawyer played my neighbor's own security footage that he submitted as evidence, which showed me walking to the grass, setting Butterscotch down to explore, sitting on a bench scrolling on my phone for 15 minutes, then picking her up and going back inside. No ritual, no chanting, literally nothing suspicious. The judge looked at my neighbor and said, "Sir, can you explain what crime you think she committed?" And my neighbor just kept saying things about witches and demons over and over without actually answering. His wife jumped up and screamed, "She's going to steal his soul with blood magic and snake venom." And the judge said, "Ma'am, ball pythons don't have venom." The courtroom got so quiet you could hear people trying not to laugh. The judge looked at my neighbor and said, "Sir, this woman works night shifts at a hospital saving lives, goes home to her legal pet snake, and makes tiny hats as a hobby. If she's a witch for owning a ball python and wearing black, then half the teenagers at the mall are practicing dark magic." He threw out the case right there. My neighbor yelled, "You'll see! The snake will reveal its true form," and had to be escorted out by security. He tried to appeal twice and got rejected both times. I still take Butterscotch outside twice a week and still make her seasonal hats because it makes me happy.